Welcome back to Soul Renovation. I'm Adeline Atlas, 7 times published author. When you don't have to worry about bills, you become dangerous definition. Survival mode isn't just poverty, it's a programmed limitation. It's the invisible hand that keeps brilliance exhausted, potential distracted, and souls too busy surviving to ever build. The system depends on you staying tired, so you never get the time to truly think. When you don't have to worry about paying bills, you have time to think. And that right there, is what makes you dangerous. Because when you finally have the space to breathe, to pause, to create from clarity instead of chaos, you tap into a version of yourself the system was designed to suppress. You think it's just about money? No, it's about mental bandwidth, spiritual real estate. When you're not constantly worrying about rent, groceries, gas, invoices, you start accessing higher-level thoughts, strategic thoughts, visionary thoughts. You stop thinking about how to get through the day and start thinking about how to build a legacy. You stop reacting and start architecting. That's why survival mode is not just a condition, it's a trap, a weapon, a system of energetic imprisonment that keeps powerful people too distracted to rise, too busy working to remember why they were born. If you never have time to dream, they win. If you never have time to heal, they win. If you never have time to learn how the game actually works, they win. You weren't born to grind. You weren't sent here to work 3 jobs and never breathe. You weren't built to trade your hours for just enough energy to collapse on the couch and repeat the same loop tomorrow. That's not a life. That's a leash. And let me say it plain. You being tired? That's not a coincidence. That's by design. They want you underpaid and overstimulated. They want you emotionally drained and spiritually numb. Because when you're exhausted, you don't rebel. You don't ask questions. You don't build. You comply. But here's the shift. The second you break out of survival mode, even just for a moment, you start seeing everything differently. You realize how much of your power has been rented out just to stay afloat. You realize how much genius lives in you that hasn't even been activated yet, simply because you've never had the space to be still. Stillness breeds strategy. Calm births clarity. And clarity? Clarity is dangerous. Because now, you're not just surviving. You're plotting. You're designing systems, restructuring bloodlines, learning the laws, flipping the game board. You become sovereign. And sovereignty doesn't need the system. That's why your peace is powerful. That's why your rest is revolutionary. That's why your financial stability is spiritual. Because it gives you back your time, your energy, your access to the deeper layers of who you actually are outside of survival. This is why we talk about wealth on a soul level. Not just for cars, cash, or clout, but for capacity. Because until your nervous system feels safe, your brilliance is running on fumes. Your ideas will stay trapped in stress. Your intuition will stay hijacked by cortisol. Your calling will stay paused by panic. So no, it's not just bills. It's the energy behind them. It's the time they steal. It's the brilliance they bury. And that's why I'm saying, your freedom is not selfish. It's sacred. When you stop living in survival mode, you don't just change your life, you change your bloodline. You reset the whole system. You start making decisions from power instead of panic. You become impossible to manipulate and very hard to control. And that's what they fear most. The School of Soul Vault is my private monthly membership designed for those who are done just listening and ready to start building. Inside, you get full access to my video series, the unfiltered teachings, the strategy, the game plans, everything I don't share anywhere else. If you're ready to grow in silence and rise with precision, this is where it happens. Join the vault. Monthly access. Lifetime impact.